Well, Twitch is back at the same time as nobody can stop Bipolar Method from marching on, formerly known as Paradigm, and they've got a double header now today. Adonis, first up, they've got Dignitas.
And Dignitas has been looking very, very good. Currently sitting fourth in the standings, I believe, with 8 points right now. They've been able to match kind of up to these big boys, I think. I think this is a team that Dignitas has a chance against. This isn't like Energy where they have no chance. I think this is a team where they might be able to sneak a game away.
I think they do have chances here, and as the day is dictated here, if you are voting for the left-hand side of your screen, you may win. That's basically it.
Oh, man.
You notice that?
I gotta go change my votes now.
Yep.
I gotta go change.
Oh, what did you vote?
This is not good for Dignitas anymore.
No, it's bad for Dignitas going into this one overall. So let's have a little look at how this game's going to play out then, because we're going to see the standings on your screen one more time. And there you go. This is the game from yesterday as well, which is Bipolar Method versus Fantastic, rescheduled to today. So Lawbster and the boys will play this double header back to back. Obviously, we saw Sanguine split with Cringe Crew as well, and Energy beat Hungry for More.
First up, though, Dignitas. Dignitas has been the team the past 2 seasons that have kind of sat at the bottom. They barely avoid relegations every single split, but this seems to be the split where the gears are starting to tick. Suntouch moving over to the Hunter position, I think there's a lot of question marks there. How is he going to perform? And I think he has done a phenomenal job, especially bridging in those magical Hunters. I thought that was going to be his main thing, but he's brought out a very wide God pool.
Very wide. Rama and her as well. Jing on that list as well. To add to those things, the team they've been defeated by so far, Dignitas, has been Energy, which you can kind of expect from the world champions and their performances so far. However, their opposition today, Dignitas, well, they took a game of the world championships at the start of the split.
And Bipolar Method here. Let's see what they go into. They have a couple different options. Xaliea obviously likes to be a little bit frisky, likes to play those kind of weird solo laners. Been pretty traditional for the most part in recent times, though. Has kind of, I think, started to solidify his play. I think he was struggling very heavily. You know, Season 1, Xaliea was like this premier solo laner. No one could really match him except, you know, the occasional odd person or two like Game Hunter. But now he's getting matched by a lot of these new generation solo laners, and I think his edge has kind of fallen off.
I think some of that, though, comes back to the fact that he was playing the jank sort of things in the solo lane, and now he's actually knuckled down and focused on what the meta requires, because the meta has changed, forcing those sort of jank picks not to really work. Nemesis and Freya banned out, though, so respect to Suntouch's
There's
Freya
a lot of respect to... I don't know if this is a lot of respect to Suntouch's Freya, or if this is just like they feel like that his premier god and that his other gods just don't bring as much.
When you go all the way back, I mean, Suntouch used to run Freya in the jungle all the time, so it's not a
back
real
on Cloud
surprise.
9.
Somebody he's very comfortable with. Bipolar Method are going to think about their second pick now as well. So the second ban, I should say. Obviously, Fafnir still available, Terror available, Susano gets banned out, and Kuang is also
Kuang was the big one for me. I think both of these junglers have a chance to go off. FrostiaK, while he typically prefers kind of those early game aggressive junglers. We saw Fafnir the last time we saw him going that Wrath build. I think the Kuang also can provide just so much that it's almost just too much to pass up, even if that's not your style.
Yeah, very true indeed. And that's really got a hard decision to make for themselves now. Do they do a throwaway ban potentially here and allow themselves to get 2 priority picks? No, they're going to take Terror.
I like this option. Terra, we actually didn't see in the last set, surprisingly enough, picked or banned, but she provides so much pressure in the early laning phase, especially against those immobile supports. If Dignitas are looking to go for a Soul or a Chronos, gods that don't have jumps in the laning phases, Terra is very good at abusing them. She has the guaranteed stun on Crushing Earth because you don't have the movement speed to get out, and after that, you're going to see the follow-up from the Obelisk as well.
Yeah, if you can find the monolith into the root, it will come in handy. Raijin locked in for Dignitas here after Fafnir picked up for Trixtank in the duo lane, and Dignitas get a second option here for what they want to choose. As we said, Kuang's still available here as well, so we'll see if that ends up getting picked up.
They could look for their support as well. They might save that for the third pick. Bacchus and I think, Sobek here, good options for big man. We've seen him have a pretty good Athena as well. I'm a little bit surprised to see the Bacchus this early. Obviously, Fafnir already picked up Bipolar Method. Unlikely to pick the Bacchus. I know Xaliea played it in solo lane once, but that was only once and out of LAN.
At the same time, though, I think picking up the Bacchus here, I think it's wise just for the fact that you don't give anything away to your opposition. Allow to see what Bipolar Method are going to pick up and look to respond. But by doing that, the Kuang does go the way of QvoFred.
And QvoFred's not going to hesitate on this. Obviously, he likes to play a lot of setup gods like the Thor, like the Nemesis. But with Nemesis banned out, he's just going to go straight to the I'm going to carry god. This god provides so much in late game scenarios. Does get pressured out early by junglers like Thor, like Naja, like Fafnir, but still, if you can survive that first 15 to 20-minute phase, when you get that Polynomicon online and the Rod of Tahuti, you absolutely shred anyone.
It's going to be the Serqet from Dignitas here. We've seen this run a few times by the boys of Energy to deal with the Kuang, and now Dignitas going to adopt that for themselves and now focus on mid-lane bans.
I like the ban of Vulcan. Lawbster has been playing a lot of it ever since Epsilon Invitational. He was one of the first to bring it back into the meta consistently. Obviously, Pretty Prime had his time, playing it every once in a while, but Lawbster was the first that, like, this god is good now with his passive, and so it was an intelligent ban away, also taking away a Zeus.
Yeah, so just predominant mid laners who have decent clear in the early stages to deal with Raijin, and with the Chronos ban as well, that's something we're not going to see Lawbster even playing himself, because Bipolar Method have banned it for themselves.
They don't want Suntouch to pick it up. He has been on a tear when he gets in the late game scenarios.
I mean, those 3 bans there from Bipolar Method and her Chronos Freya are all directed at Suntouch, trying to give him no safety in this lane.
And I like this ROM pick too. We've seen it more often recently as teams draft a lot of mobility compositions that can get in and out of fights. Ram is so good about securing kills against someone like Jing who's able to pop the agility after Bacchus knocks him up, or an Kuang who has the water illusion. Once that pops, you can still chase down those kills. That's what these gods are looking to do. They're looking to get in and then just try and sneak away with some of their abilities, and Ram shuts that down.
Or that Neith pickup by Bipolar Method as well. I mean, that global presence will allow Kuang for some easy setup potential of free damage onto a target going forward. We've seen it happen more and more as time's gone on. It's kind of a standard combo we used to see it now.
The Serqet also picked up for Dignitas there early in the first phase of the draft. We didn't really talk about it, but the matchup against Kuang is pretty solid. When she ults, obviously that dot's going to be ticking, which means if any water illusion comes out, he's immediately going to be popped out of the stealth. Obviously still gets the displacement, moves himself a couple feet forward there, but it's going to be much easier to find him.
Well, into game we go, and you can already see Xaliea being aggressed on, trying to walk forward a little bit too deep there. The ward down from Dignitas to the right, and Harpies just keeping eyes on that. Did see a couple of mix-ups in terms of builds coming out from a lot of teams here. Xaliea does get that ward over the speed buff in terms of, starting builds and where they actually go in the jungle. We saw a little bit earlier on today some interesting ones coming out of Cyclone.
Yeah.
But he started mid-Harpies.
I don't know if Bipolar Method are going to go for that. I think they're going to go a little bit more standard. You can see deep wards by Dignitas as well, wanting to get full vision of what QvoFred and his mobility in the jungle, and more importantly, when he's going to be able to come into that mid lane. You also have one on the left side of mid-Harpies for any rotations over into the duo.
Yeah, we won't see any invade coming out from the duo, the solo laners and the junglers together, because both of them don't have very good level 1s overall here. Yes, maybe Xaliea is the only one there that you could really be like, yes, he has a good level 1. The rest, not so much.
No, there's not going to be any invades. Everyone probably just going to be farming up right now. FrostiaK on the Serqet. Actually, clear on Serqet's not the best in the early game. You have to rely pretty heavily on the Deathbane. The other abilities aren't that good for clear, so you see a little bit of slower presence in the jungle, but great gank potential.
But this works out with Raijin as well. As he gets towards the mid lane and those mid and Harpies, Raijin's such a strong clear that you can just sit back as Serqet for the most part. Immediately the blue buffs are taken down and into lane they go, and we're going to see both at least one of the junglers in terms of FrostiaK go to that solo lane to farm up some of that first of all.
Also, Neith in the mid there, Lawbster playing his classic Hunter. That's the one he always defaults to. He's played a little bit of Uller, but this guy just provides so much presence in the lane, being able to box as well as contest mid-Harpies.
That was good from ShadowNightmare. They've got a lot of free poke off on Kuvo, and in mid lane they
Did
lost
he get
a couple
one
of
too?
creeps, but it wasn't that. It was the archers that was a big thing for me. 3 archers in the mid lane went to the tower, didn't get killed, and I'm not sure if they got the experience, but they definitely didn't get the gold.
Rotation here from FrostiaK as well, who picked up those fire elementals, just farming up for the most part. He's just going to combine for clear right now. Wants to play it a little bit slow here. Can't really fight QvoFred at this moment. Had already used his abilities to clear the wave.
And Kuvo uses all his potions as well there, so now he's got to be a little bit more careful. FrostiaK still has his available. As they're looking at the left hand, Harpies here, right hand side. Boxing match going on there, and Ducky decides he's had enough of that. He's in the jungle. Kuvo forced out, and if they choose the right target there, could have seen the kill. I love what ShadowNightmare did.
I do too. Just, he could have looked and tried to randomly guess where QvoFred was going to be at. Obviously, the water illusion actually telling you where the direction is. Instead, though, he gets the guaranteed damage off on Lawbster, just trying to force him to use his health potions, make him a little bit uncomfortable. Thankfully, Lawbster is going to be able to heal up, has the heal in his kit.
Not only that as well, though, but if Raiju actually does connect and he hits it, it could teleport to where the illusion was. So they could have potentially found QvoFred if he walked back towards
If he had walked towards Lawbster instead of the direction he took. That's true. Right now, though, You could see neither team really able to make anything happen. A lot of poke over in the soul lane. Ducky and Xaliea making sure to go at it. Obviously, Robin has a really good matchup in the early game, and you could see Xaliea trying to do everything he can to force Ducky out, get a gold lead.
And Ducky's just after farm more than anything else. He doesn't really want to box, he just wants to get the levels on. Does hit level 5 now, and in a comfortable position here. Xaliea has to tank a full wave, but it doesn't take long to bring it down at this stage.
A little bit surprising. Robins like to poke both the opposing player as well as the wave. Xaliea actually chasing Ducky around in the lane, but with that benevolence aura, he's just going to be a little bit too fast for him to keep up with.
Fire elementals are about to spawn at the moment, but everybody at the moment in terms of the junglers are just on the left-hand side, all returning back from base. Full warrior tabby is online for FrostiaK now.
And Ducky actually getting a very early lead right now in this lane, which is not surprising, or excuse me, is surprising for an Amaterasu. He's going to also be able to take control of these fire imps. The QvoFred level 4, not going to be able to hit level 5 yet, and FrostiaK already is. This is an opportunity for Dignitas to set up a kill somewhere on the map.
And where's the real focus going to be? Maybe, obviously, it's going to be with the Serqet. I'd really be looking to try and pick off QvoFred if anybody
I think
else.
so too. It's QvoFred. The ultimate also going to reveal him in stealth when he tries to escape. You have ShadowNightmare, who's going to be able to taunt him as well. There's a fair amount of CC between this mid-jungle combination for Dignitas that they can probably bait out that purification before needing to fully commit.
And the big thing will be when the support start to rotate from the duo lane now. It's only 3 minutes in, and the second rotation of speed buffs have spawned. Blue buffs about to come up as well, so we'll see if the junglers do help out with those, or they'll just allow those solo lanes to get that solo experience.
I almost want to see the junglers set up ganks on the right side of the map at this point. Both of them have been going at it. We're seeing both incredibly poked out. Now that they've gone back to base and finished their boots, it'll be a little bit harder, I think, to open up those opportunities. I think both are going to be playing a little bit safer in lane.
They're both expecting ganks, however, but talking about ganks, QvoFred forced to illusion away there as well, just defensively away from FrostiaK in the jungle. It does allow Dignitas to look for these
the
harpies,
Trix.
and they trade.
Trix is here as well. There's the Neith ult, trouble for FrostiaK. He's got to burn his ult, trying to answer back, but he's going to get executed by QvoFred. Quick and clean, first blood.
QvoFred did really well there with the purification, just be able to stay in the engagement. It was persisted as well through ShadowNightmare's ultimate, which meant that the taunts, the fears, couldn't actually confirm and allow FrostiaK to escape.
And we saw that, you know, ability for Lawbster to set up kills even if he's not right there. Obviously ShadowNightmare around the corner, really good ultimate from him. He wasted no time finding the stun. I don't even think he fully charged it. I think they were primarily looking for that stun, just trying to bait out that purification so the execute could be 100% guaranteed from Qvo.
I can't 100% guarantee who got that actually overall. I actually think it went the way of Dignitas.
There's no way we're going to be able to tell from that graph.
I couldn't tell. I mean, that was a funny thing, because I was like, what is Trix going to do here? Like, he's not really got a lot of damage on this Fafnir. He's more of a setup god, if anything, and just basically front line.
He does have a fair amount of damage when he, like, fully combos with his ult, but I mean, that's not really going to be it just yet. He actually has gone for the Traveler's Boots. Magi's online for BigManTingz, looking to be the aggressor, wants to set up a lot of kill, obviously a lot of damage and a lot of kill potential for a Bacchus in those early game scenarios.
That was a great opportunity from Bipolar Method there. Taking away the blue buff for absolutely free. The pressure with Trixtank coming over as well. Ducky was back in base, and look at the aggression from Funballer.
He loves to box right now. Suntouch is close to his tower, so he's obviously not going to die, but at the very least, just the presence to push Suntouch back, it's going to open up rotation possibilities for Funballer, or even make Dignitas have to rotate over to that left-hand side.
Rama's not too bad against Jing though overall, just because of the fact that his wave clear's about even overall, but just at the moment Funballer using the explosive bolts and the gust has shown me that it's wrong. However, the cripple that he can have from the rollout, Rama can really put some pressure onto Jing and not allowing her to use the agility to escape.
Right-hand side, Ducky gonna eat that ult. Xaliea actually backing off. He had a guaranteed kill, I think, but with the cooldown still up, he wanted to play it safe. The rotation's there as well.
Oh, he's dead?
And he's gonna die to archers, maybe? No, he's out just barely.
One hit was all he needed. However, Bipolar Method are doing the Gold Fury right now because Dignitas are on the other side of the map. Gold Fury goes to Bipolar Method, and unfortunately, Suntouch
he was close.
To find the snipes.
I got to give him shout-outs. He was very close to stealing that away. Now a 2,600 gold lead. It's a bait. Suntouch gonna eat a gust, get knocked up, and there's just so much chain CC. Funballer could look to pull him around.
Got no ult either. Remember that explosive bolts off from Funballer, but he's got no mana left. Suntouch though, Suntouch Trixtank really wants this kill.
He's going way too deep.
The hammer though,
and he's by himself now. You can see the slow on the Trixtank as the rest of the team rotates in. He's going to get blown up, and I mean, I think that was a call from Funballer to back off. You saw him low, no mana, And he could have easily, like, he didn't have much to worry about. Put in some extra pot shots onto Suntouch, but he's like just trying to get out. Meanwhile, Trixtank getting a little bit too greedy, channeling his inner Fafnir there.
I mean, he hits the hammer. If he would have hit the hammer, it could have been a different story.
Maybe.
However, Suntouch still had purification up anyway. So he was just trying to force that, if anything, over there. And credit to Suntouch for being so patient to hold his purification when that gust came through. He could have ignored that.
Even the presence of mind to immediately turn around and find the slow, just making it harder for Trixtank to escape, so ShadowNightmare could confirm the kill.
Duck under pressure, but he's got his ultimate available.
Nicely
and now
timed.
is Qvo in an awkward position, but he's going to get the execute off.
No, he died. Oh, that's so.
I wasn't sure.
I was so confused as well. So the tick from FrostiaK actually finishing off QvoFred before he could confirm the execute.
Wow.
Even if the beginning of the animation happens, there's still an incredibly small frame to where you can either kill or purify away an Kuang execute. What happens there is the dot damage just a little bit too much. Great play from Ducky as well. Right before he got in the execute threshold, he ults, meaning the execute can't happen. He's CC immune in the duration, and he finds just enough damage for FrostiaK to finish him.
Well then, interesting game so far. 2-1 in kills in favor of Dignitas. Golfy went to Bipolar Method, however, you show those left-hand harpies also go their way as well. I'm really sad about Bipolar Method, though. They called themselves BM. They missed an opportunity. They could have called themselves BPM.
It's possible, but look at oh, Ducky, great bait. Ooh. He could have continued the aggression. Most solo laners actually give away when there's a gank coming. Instead, Ducky set this up perfectly. FrostiaK's not going to be able to get the kill. His ult was down, no reason to chase that, but they do force the ult from Xaliea, opening up another possibility in the next 90 seconds.
And now he misses some pressure out of Bipolar Method, now trying to support their solo lane and Trix on the way over, as is BigManTingz though, matching pace. And for the most part, it looks like they may be looking for the blue buff once more. They do know it's available, but this time around, different story. They're not going to find it.
Trix actually just putting pressure on. No one else on his team was even close, and actually forced ShadowNightmare to rotate over. He's going to be soaking up a little bit of this mid wave, and you can see just the full commit from FrostiaK to be able to get that blue, and still an 8-man grouping over near this Fire Giant pit.
Yeah, just all on this right-hand side. There's nothing actually available on the map on this side anymore, and only a minute and a half until we're not going to have any more fire elemental spawn either here. And you even see BigManTingz hanging around here. Going to be a bit respectful of Qvo.
I like what Dig are doing. They forced out the ult from Xaliea. They set up another attempt there. FrostiaK, though, not coming in from the jungle, instead electing to come in from the wave. So it's a little bit easier red, and Xaliea is able to get away, but just making sure to open up those opportunities and try and abuse them.
The Lawbster now in the mid lane. Level 11 has full Transcendence completed and stacked, along with the Warrior Tabby as well. So a little bit more power here.
Qvo's in trouble. I don't think he knows that Ducky's right behind him, and clearly Dig know everything that's going on.
The illusion comes out, but BigManTingz takes a lot of free poke there as well. Flops away early. World Weaver is available
not
for
enough
Lawbster,
damage.
But it's just not worth trying. It's close.
No, with Transcendence and Boots 3, that would be enough damage, but you can see ShadowNightmare immediately blocking, so that's not going to be enough. And there was meditation from BigManTingz as well.
They're going to go on ShadowNightmare instead. The hammer follows up. Purification immediately used. However, FrostiaK trying to answer that back, and he's forced out as well.
Lawbster's so good. At the very least, it's going to be a tower, and Trixtank just on complete zone duty here. Ducky's made the rotation to try and stop this. The tower very low, and Tings is back from base.
And Trixtank gets Fafnir and does Fafnir things, just goes to the back line, forces them all away, allows Bipolar Method to continue extending the gold lead. And not only that, they can now look at the red buff.
I love this combination of Neith plus the Kuang. You get the guaranteed stun from Lawbster, a fair amount of damage as well, and as long as there's one other person to follow up, you can likely get that person into the execute range. ShadowNightmare had the reaction time to Thunder Crash away, but half a second later, and that's a kill.
I mean, that World Weaver that channeled onto him as well, he probably sat there and went, really?
Well, he thought,
really gonna do that? What?
Well, he was holding it probably for the BigManTingz. He probably had no idea. I mean, it's one of those bait things where if Lawbster's doing it all the time, he's going to have no idea when it's actually going to happen.
And if ShadowNightmare knew that was coming a little bit sooner, he would have Thunder Crashed early, because he channeled it for a second, but it was like, are you really going to? No, he fired it?
He's like, he's not actually going to do this. Well, it's only 10 minutes in. I'm under my tier 1, man.
And with 10 minutes in, it's only 17 seconds till the next goal for respawns. BigManTingz taking more poke there, but going to chug to reduce some of those enhance from Lawbster as they return back for their own red buff to Bipolar Method. Xaliea still picking on Ducky under the tower here, keeping him pinned back.
And Ducky, surprisingly, has relinquished this lane. I mean, he had a pretty big lead earlier on, which isn't supposed to happen in this matchup, but now's the time when Ducky's supposed to be dominating. Both have breastplate online, but at this point, they're probably going to be fine. Xaliea actually does have a 400 gold gold lead. We didn't notice that at first. It's actually just slowly climbed up.
Yeah, the gold lead has been there, mainly because the star where FrostiaK was actually in lane farming some of that experience as well. But the experience was the bigger talking point, I should say, than the gold difference. The experience was even, but right now, it's a 3,000 experience lead, 3,000 gold lead for Bipolar Method.
And this is a critical time. You're looking at these players getting their second relics. Lawbster level 13. He's going to be able to have his with the Sanctuary. Trixtank level 10, obviously equal. The Hunters both level 13. But I believe Funballer did back, so he was able to get his relic earlier on.
Just a wise little play there from Trixtank in the mid lane. Just freezing the wave, making sure Lawbster gets all that experience and gold for himself. There's no reason for him to just clear that out on his own and not share.
Lawbster and Trixtank are synergizing so well this game. We see the hammer stuns into the roots, and it's not to set up a kill, it's just to set up poke, and it's just so smart. Funballer there, just fake auto-attacking.
Playing with his pistol.
He's trying to bait a fight right now. BM wants to fight.
But however, Rama pushing the lane means from Suntouch means that he's going to go back here to clear this one out, otherwise he's going to lose some. He's just throwing hammers around.
He's like Frezzy, but instead of jumping in, he just throws an ability.
Yep, and puts it on cooldown for a few seconds. The best news is, though, with his ultimate available, if a fight did break out, he could just transform,
he's gonna be fine.
Immediately have all his cooldowns available.
It's so good against this composition as well, because BigManTingz, when he jumps in, if Trixtank, as long as he's fast enough, he's going to be able to ult and immune a lot of the damage that's likely to follow up off of a belly flop.
Well, Ducky was looking for a blue buff there, and now he's going to get turned on instead. World we've already used, but Ducky doing a good job of trying to stand tall for now. He knows he's got a rotation coming from the boys at Bipolar Method as well in terms of Trixtank, so just backs away.
They lose the Neith ult for that. That's overall going to be a win for Dignitas. Xaliea also not going to keep putting the pressure on this lane, as he knows there could be someone lurking on that right-hand side as FrostiaK picks up his speed. So a net win.
Well, Tiller 2 junglers here, and Serqet's early game is starting to come to an end. Now we're hitting mid-game status, and that's where QvoFred will start to shine. Polynomicon is completed. He's coming out of base as well, and this is where he'll start to really burst down some of these targets.
Yes, FrostiaK surprisingly has only set up one gank attempt onto the right-hand side, and even though he burned the ult of Xaliea, he didn't really take too many trips back. He had the one, but he telegraphed it by walking into lane. He didn't try and make it sneaky at all. FrostiaK, even when he runs these heavy gank junglers, actually plays a very slow and methodical game, focusing more on team fights.
And in the moment, QvoFred has an 1,100 gold lead over FrostiaK. Obviously, First Blood comes into that as well as the Gold Fury. It's the big difference between the junglers, but that all adds up, especially when the second one is now available.
Ooh. No one going for it yet. I mean, you got to expect Trix and the boys to go for this first Gold Fury with Coerce. I think they have the better team fight for it, although there is the Bacchus and ShadowNightmare on this Raijin who you have to worry about. We've seen so many Bacchuses steal Gold Fury, actually.
I think it's more about ward wars, though, between the two, and that's why Trixtank just return to base and make sure he picks them up. However, you look at the side of Dignitas as well, they do have 2 sentries in inventory, ShadowNightmare and BigManTingz, prepared to counter if required to keep control of this play.
Dignitas going for this late game scenario, you could see they haven't forced anything. We saw a ton of actually numbers on the damage charts where they're just at the bottom. Even BigManTingz on a Bacchus has 580 damage 14 minutes into this. Not something you typically see. Sometimes Bacchuses just jump in to get that damage and that poke.
Yeah, it's not really had an opportunity to really do that right now. So the moment Dignitas just hold it off for the time being. Lawbster returns to base one more time, more than likely going to be finishing off chins here as Trix is looking around the Gold Fury pit. Dignitas recognize something could be going on in terms of the back coming out from Lawbster, so they were thinking about it, but Trix showing his presence denies the opportunity.
Dig have very defensive wards. Obviously, they just placed a sentry at the Gold Fury. Also, one at the top side of the mid camps, and one right there to the left as well, leading towards the lane. Well, the sentries just out of range of each other. That's got to be so close to touching.
As we were watching this, though, Ducky had taken the speed buff on the right-hand side away from QvoFred, so Dignitas' solo laner doing a very good job of answering back in the jungle here, catching that opportunity, taking away the speed buff, making sure QvoFred doesn't have it for around this area.
QvoFred still pushing forward, though, going to get taunted out. Trixtank is here to support as he finds a stun on the ShadowNightmare. And BigManTingz could look to fight this.
Well, he's going to be a bit more careful than that, especially because they just used 2 abilities. The Kiss from FrostiaK was down as well as the Percussive Storm from the Raijin. But Bipolar Method don't care. They're trying to burst this with the Gust. Look at the Gust damage and QvoFred. Rama in the sky, though. Can he find the snipes? No, he cannot. Bipolar Method get another Gold Fury.
Once again, Suntouch just so close to stealing away. Doesn't happen, though. Dig pushing forward. They want to get something with BM finding the Gold Fury, looking for a kill.
And they're going to find QvoFred. The ult will confirm it. BigManTingz actually gets it as well. FrostiaK does get a very good meditation onto himself, though, to keep him alive. He's one dot from death, and Trixtank really wants to kill, but he's not being allowed it. Now Trix is overextended.
He's by himself. Meanwhile, his team's getting dove in the back line. Ducky in trouble, getting chased down by 3 members of Bipolar Method. I don't think he's getting out of this one. Suntouch even backing off after pushing a tower, a wave into that tower.
And that's 1-for-1 overall there, but the Gold Fury going the way Bipolar Method just extends their lead even more. It's about 5,000 gold now, 5,000 experience too, and Suntouch unable to find the sniper. I mean, he tried twice, he was on the mark twice, just didn't find the right time.
I'm surprised that Xaliea is actually stealing this wave from Funballer instead of looking to invade. That red buff would have been free. ShadowNightmare can't stop it. They have boards that are going to be spawning here soon. Instead, they're just going to 3-way split the wave and steal a little bit of farm from Funballer. He's fine, though. He's level 17.
I think more than anything, they were looking for the tier 1 tower. If they could try and pressure it a little bit with the rotation of Lawbster coming over there as well, maybe that's what they were thinking.
I mean, they didn't have a wave. If they have a wave, yeah, sure, but not going to be there. Well, and Xaliea is still over here. I mean, it's fine, though.
No TP,
obviously, Ducky had died, so Xaliea just trying to soak up as much farm as possible. His teleport's down, so he's not going to be able to get over to his lane to even push that. So instead, just going to try and split like a jungler.
Well, level 17 for Xaliea. Level 17 for Funballer, as you mentioned as well. 2 highest levels in the game so far. Only 5 kills in this one as 2 Gold Furies have fallen. And the Fire Giant, obviously, now on the map, will be the attention of these 2 teams going forward if there's an opportunity that arises.
This early on, probably not going to happen. I think there's going to be one more Gold Fury attempt, but Bipolar Method are for sure the one looking for the Fire Giant. They have the coerce, and in this, even at 17 minutes, they're going to be able to burn it with that. With the shell as well, if they can find a couple kills in the mid or the right-hand side, they can open up that opportunity.
Brawler's beat stick online for Funballer this early on. Interesting
We saw this a lot. You take a look on the other side, there's not a lot of raw healing. You have, a meditate, as well as the aura from Ducky that he's going to be healing up. But I mean, maybe he's just looking for the damage on Gust.
I mean, it is cheap and cost efficient, I guess, overall. For what it actually provides you, but maybe this is a play, and Suntouch in a bit of trouble. Sanks very early, and Purifies to get away from that, but the crits are coming through. And, well, Funballer's out of mana, but look at the rotation from Trix. He did this before and got picked.
And last time he missed the hammer, but kept on going. This time he misses the hammer, just backs off. He noticed FrostiaK waiting around the corner, although he probably would have survived. Unlikely to pick up that kill on Suntouch, though. Yeah,
those hammers need to be a little bit more on the mark from Trixtank going forward, otherwise bad times for the boys of Bipolar Method. You've got to really confirm those.
So the one thing about this, too, is for the Brawler's beat stick, is they have a Fafnir, and if Trix is only looking to use Coerce on Funballer, he'll go over attack speed cap if he goes into more of a traditional build like Executioner.
That makes sense.
So that could be it.
Maybe that's one of the reasons as well that we also seen some crit coming out from him as well. Now, Xaliea trying to force his tower down. Ducky did a very good job of body blocking some of the attacks there, and with BigManTingz showing his face, he does back away. However, he's got reinforcements on this right-hand side, and it's in the form of Qvo and Funball.
Qvo's a little low, but the knock-up from Gus making it hard for ShadowNightmare to keep that fight up.
Oh, flop was great there from BigManTingz, and Qvo, it's off the map. Ducky credited for the kill. Xaliea, though, still zoning away in mid lane. They're looking for Rama, who doesn't have any relics left available, but they're not going to be able to find the pick there in the middle just yet. Trix still trying to make it happen.
By himself, but instead turning his attention to this tower now. He has Coerce, but I think he already used it on himself right now. The rest of BM rotating in here. This is going to be a tier 2 unless BigManTingz can stop it. And here comes Xaliea as well.
The snipes do connect with Lawbster, but his Sanctuary is out of the ultimate coming out from FrostiaK too. World Weaver connects with BigManTingz now, and Xaliea gets credit for the kill. FrostiaK tries to reinitiate on Lawbster, but Lawbster backflips out of the way. Still, Bipolar Method survive and pick up 1 kill each and get a tier 2 tower.
I mean, good gut job by ShadowNightmare there. Oh, Trix, that's so unfortunate. His ult just ending.
But now this is a power play for Dignitas. They can go in again. Gonna force the airstrike out of Funballer. They can keep giving chase here. Ducky will give them mobility. I say that, but that was a nice little unravel coming out from Lawbster to slow them down.
They could look to pressure this tier 1, though. You could see Xaliea and Lawbster backing in their faces instead. Just going to be focusing on seeing if there's any potential camps they can steal away. Speed buff is down. They're going to focus on those mid harpies. And Lawbster doesn't have to back anyway, just going to be continuously farming up.
Could have potentially looked for the tier 1 tower in middle lane there, but when I look at Suntouch, he did have no mana, so wise is his decision just to go back to farming that left-hand lane, try and get that tier 1 tower on the left-hand side, which is very low right now.
This is one of the weaknesses of Dignitas, and I think something that's holding them back. You talked about an early Fire Giant, though, Hindu Man, and here it is, 20 minutes in, and they're just trying to sneak it. 2 members, Xaliea is going to be rotating in. They don't even have their Coerce from from Fafnir.
That's true, but
And
they've got the
Digger's
damage.
so close.
Gus does so much for Jing Wei. He's just ticking away constantly. But QvoFred, and here comes Ducky as well, looking for the steal.
Oh.
No, not going to happen. Ducky just a minute second too late.
That was brutal. If FrostiaK had realized too, he was actually rotating back to mid lane, just completely unaware of it. Ducky finally smells it out there, but BM had already picked it up. They didn't even need their Fafnir. They just burned it.
I don't even know where they realized they could do that with just two of them. For the most part, it was just two. It was only
And then
Funballer
about halfway in, Xaliea shows
and
up.
then Lawbster towards the end as well. Like, that was really surprising. They realized they could do so much damage to it.
I mean, that might have
Only
been.
20%.
I mean, maybe that was the point of the Brawler's beat stick. Maybe a little bit more DPS on the Fire Giant.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's 20 flat pen. It's really good.
That's true indeed. Right hand side now, they're going to pressure with the Fire Jam. With the tier 2 down being in the mid lane, they can start to pressure the right. However, Funballer is going to be soloing the Gold Fury here. I say that, but Lawbster's now going to join him too. Bipolar Method's front line distract while their back line continue getting objectives.
Dig have lost this game by doing nothing. They are actually in the lead in kills. They've got 5. BM only have 3, but they have just been so confused and lost across the map. They don't try and take opportunities. They play a very passive game plan.
They're trying to get a tier 1 on the right hand side, but Kuvo is here and Trixtank. Trixtank will show his face first with 3 members over here. Kuvo's going in and trying to find an individual pick, and it's going to be onto Suntouch, who purifies and sanctuaries as well to avoid the damage. Ducky tries to defend, but Trix reinitiates, looking for Suntouch again.
It's a
Allows
2v3.
Kuvo back in, but still Kuvo stands.
Oh, 2v4 now as the rotation from FrostiaK's going to be good. To the sky goes Suntouch, looking for the snipes. QvoFred finally falls, but in the meantime, left-hand side, we see a split push coming out. Lawbster was able to take out that tier 1, now focusing on the tier 2 as well. This is going to be guaranteed as Bipolar Method wants to stop Dignitas from backing on the right-hand side. Suntouch, very low, just gets back.
He does get back. No Phoenix going to be available for Lawbster here. He will back away when he sees Rama coming. Funballer, though, did return to base to make sure he could clear out mid-wave, which was being pushed down as well now. So can't help Lawbster if he needs it in the jungle.
We could almost see Bipolar Method commit on the right-hand side. Good job from Funballer there, having the presence of mind to help out Lawbster as he tried to escape. FrostiaK almost able to set up that kill there, but the Gus gonna stop him.
You mentioned kills overall, Dennis, and I don't think kills really matter that much in Smite these days. These teams are at such a high level now that most of the time they don't 5-on-5 teamfight anymore. They're in the meta where it's all about positioning, make sure you get towers, objectives, and strip them away from the opponents.
Bipolar Method has just split this map, right? Not only forcing people to rotate to the wrong side of the map as they do Gold Fury, but also forcing people to the right side of the map to team fight and making sure they can't back so they can get towers on the left. And then the snuck Fire Giant with no one on the map there. It's just been such an intelligent game plan from BM.
And the funny thing is that QvoFred is 1-4 right now on Kuang. He's been farmed pretty much by Dignitas, but what he has done is got a Ravana to who he's pretty much full build because his team, while he's been dying, has been getting objectives because of his life.
You look at the stats and you'd be so confused at what's going on right now with this gold, what's going on right now with these levels. FrostiaK down an entire level because of all the objectives that QvoFred and his team have been able to acquire.
Well, 2 Hunters start to shred the tower with a Trixtank as well, with Coercion just buff one of them. FrostiaK's around the left-hand side, but Xaliea was already sniffing something out over there. It was a Scorpion, that's for sure. Going to push him back into his own jungle for now. Tier 2 falls for free. Obviously, the Fire Gen still on Bipolar Method here, so they do back away, but this golden experience is going through the roof.
FrostiaK is not going to be able to do anything. He's 4 levels down on most of the carries of Bipolar Method, as well as going into the Wingblade build, which is significantly going to reduce his damage in this situation.
Blink in from FrostiaK, looking for the big play, but FrostiaK bursted way out quickly. Already in the sky is Suntouch, though, trying to find the snipes. There's no one low enough to really secure a kill, and as Ducky does a great job keeping the backline busy, but now he gets focused instead.
Dignitas did everything right in that fight, but the 12k gold lead is too much to come back from. Suntouch going to be able to fall as well. That's 2 kills for Bipolar Method, still pushing forward. FrostiaK barely able to make it over, but the Phoenix is going to fall down, and Bipolar Method going to walk straight in. They could look for the Phoenixes, they could look for the end. Both are honestly fine options.
I think I saw Trixtank going, guys, let's do it.
I think he did too.
Lawbster's like, no, we are not ending yet. Let's get the Phoenixes first, no mistakes.
Just trying to play it safe right now. All 3 Phoenixes here going to fall. FrostiaK waiting in the corner. You can see Trixtank actually going to have his ult cancel, taking a fair amount of poke there from the Phoenix, but BM going to play it safe. They're going to back off, strip the jungle, spin their gold.
Honestly, though, 25 minutes in, getting all 3 Phoenixes and a Fire Giant so far in this game. Good times.
Without really having to even team fight.
Yeah.
At all. It's just been confusing Dignitas, who have been really lost. Can we actually see Ward's place? I'd like to see what the difference is, and as well as talk about the 3,200 for Xaliea and the 4200 for Trixtank in hand.
Yeah, let's see the wards placed then and just see exactly how this has gone on in terms of that. And it's going to be 12 wards online for the top boy Trixtank. The bottom though, Suntouch and FrostiaK, but that's kind of, well, it was more expensive from Suntouch.
Oh yeah, only 2 placed, right? I mean, you look at just the overall, and Bipolar Method is far away exceeding Dignitas in warding, and they were able to utilize that vision in those mid-game scenarios to just continuously sneak objectives that Dig had no idea about.
Well, devil's advocate though is if you're behind in a game and you're losing gold, by spending it on wards, yeah, you're still alive, but then you're investing into wards instead of items.
But the issue is, they weren't spending wards to stay alive. They needed to spend wards so Bipolar Method wouldn't then get a free gold theory, a free fire giant, a free tower, free rotations across the map.
Well, now this free fire giant could be available one more time here as Bipolar Method. I don't think we'll see Dignitas really look to defend it. They've got 3 Phoenixes down here. Going to be a rough situation for them to come out. Only 11 kills in this game so far. But the Titan, maybe the 12th.
Fire minions, going to be really hard to stop right now. Dignitas just don't have the damage online right now. You can see Crit just started for Suntouch. He's only got tier 2. That's going to give him, 10-15%. It's not going to be enough compared to the full build almost coming out from Funballer. He's got Winged Blade, or Wind Demon, excuse me, as well as the Deathbringer done. Critting for over 600 right now. QvoFred's working on close to a full build.
The one thing about this composition the Bipolar Method have drafted here is it was an answer to what Dignitas tried to do by pinning down Lawbster onto mages. And they're like, okay, we'll run the double hunter comp with Fafnir then, and just put the pressure on with that instead. And now we can just have double hunters, focus on objectives, and strip the map.
And they're playing it very safe too. You can see members in every single lane pushing up those minions, making sure the fire minions are going to come in. And this is going to be something that this is basically impossible for Dignitas to stop. If they want to stop it, they need to fight now. They cannot let the fire minions come into the base. Well, they need to be the aggressors in this situation.
Chip away is the question. The flop off the mark there from BigManTingz, and they're just poking them down at the moment with the fire minions coming in too.
Dig gotta go in.
Still taking a bit of pressure here at the moment, but the sprint has been popped, and Funballer's really looking for the kill in the fountain, but Dignitas doing a good job of staying in the fountain and keeping themselves alive. The Titan, however, will not stand. Bipolar Method take game 1. I'll buy that for $1.
That was very clean from them overall. Just doing a good job of getting early gold leads, not even needing to worry about fighting or ganking at all. FrostiaK had 0 presence on the map. He had 1 gank on the right-hand side, and forced out Xaliea. So outside of that, he was a non-issue for Bipolar Method to deal with, which against a Serqet, I mean, a Serqet needs to be an issue in those early game and mid-game fights.
Well, to be fair, credit where it's due, Dignitas did do what they needed to and shut down the Kuang. But the difference is that the composition wasn't designed just for the Kuang. It had multiple threat levels.
I don't know what it is about Dignitas. They're very close to being good. This did not seem like the Dignitas that had played in the previous weeks. Maybe they were giving a little bit too much respect to Bipolar Method, right? Because this is one of the tougher opponents they faced. Obviously, they had faced Energy earlier in the year, and they haven't had to face Hunger for More. This is the only other good team they've really gone up against, and they kind of just did nothing that game.
Well, let's see what